In the depths of the foreboding forest, a sinister presence lingered among the gnarled trees and twisted branches. This was Leshy, the malevolent master of the forest. His dark and unseen gaze bore into the souls of all who dared to venture into his domain. Known as the Forest Spirit, Leshy ruled with an iron fist, ensuring that those within his reach suffered greatly. Despite his claim of protecting his household, his definition of harm knew no bounds. Like a puppet master, he played with the lives of those who wandered into his cursed woods. To the few innocent souls who happened to cross his path, Leshy displayed a sickening kindness. He charmed them with his deceitful benevolence, appearing as a compassionate guide who would lead them back to safety. But as the moon's gaze flickered through the dense canopy, Leshy reveled in his twisted games. He maliciously confused their senses, entangling their thoughts, and leading them in endless circles that only amplified their desperation. The melancholic melody of his wordless songs echoed through the darkness, chilling the very hearts of those who heard it. His haunting claps resounded like thunder amidst the silence, causing shivers to crawl down the spine. Whistles pierced the night air, filled with a hint of madness that seeped into the minds of unfortunate wanderers. Leshy's true form was an enigma, for he could assume any guise he wished. Sometimes he appeared as a beautiful plant, beckoning with its vibrant hues and intoxicating fragrance, only to reveal its poisonous nature when embraced. Other times, he morphed into a helpless creature, captivating his victims with a guise of innocence before revealing his malevolence with a wicked grin and a twisted laugh. Isolated and solitary, he was a figure of dread, a walking nightmare that haunted the dreams of those burdened with his torment. Leshy's presence lurked around every corner, hidden within the shadows, waiting to inflict his nightmarish tricks upon any unsuspecting soul. Yet, with the coming of winter, Leshy's power waned, and he retreated into the very earth beneath him. The forest breathed a sigh of relief as the veil of darkness lifted, but the true horror lay in knowing that Leshy's reign was far from over. He would emerge again, summoned by the changing seasons, hungering for more victims to torment and souls to taint. As the frosty tendrils of winter gripped the land, the forest fell into an eerie silence. The once vibrant foliage morphed into twisted, skeletal branches that reached out like gnarled fingers, as if begging for mercy from the darkness that lay within. Leshy, the malevolent master, retreated deep into the bowels of the earth, awaiting his chance to unleash his sinister reign once more. In his slumber, Leshy's dreams were plagued by maleficent visions. Horrific nightmares danced through his mind, grotesque creatures with twisted limbs and wicked grins. They whispered secrets soaked in darkness, revealing secrets that would make even the bravest souls tremble with fear. Leshy's slumber was restless, his twisted snarls disrupting the otherwise silent night. With every passing day, the forest grew colder, its icy breath smothering any hint of life. The once lush greenery turned into a desolate landscape, where even the hardiest creatures feared to tread. The absence of Leshy could be felt, like a malignant presence that clawed at the edges of one's sanity. But as the last tendrils of winter began to release their grip on the land, a foreboding sense of apprehension settled upon the forest. The birds ceased their songs, and the wind carried a chilling whisper that spoke of impending doom. Leshy, sensing the waning power of the cold season, slithered from the depths of his earthen tomb, his malevolent aura pulsating with renewed vitality. Emerging as a wretched creature cloaked in darkness, Leshy's presence was suffocating. Shadows clung to his ethereal form, twisting and writhing in a macabre dance of torment. His unnatural gaze bore into the very depths of one's soul, an absolute void that devoured all that was good and pure. Once more, he commenced his spiteful games, luring innocent wanderers into his realm of despair. The forest came alive with his sibilant whispers that echoed through the trees, twisting and distorting reality itself. Unseen hands seemed to pull at the clothes of his victims, taunting and teasing, leaving behind a trail of madness in their wake. As the sun set, bathing the forest in an unsettling darkness, Leshy's voice filled the air. It was a cacophony of sinister laughter and mournful cries that curdled the blood. His haunting songs resonated through the twisted branches, becoming a symphony of despair that served as a prelude to the horror he would inflict. Together with the arrival of nightfall, Leshy reveled in his wicked pleasure. The forest became a labyrinth of horror, where every path led to despair. His victims stumbled through the undergrowth, disoriented and consumed by their own terror. The deeper they ventured, the more entangled they became, their screams swallowed by the suffocating darkness. Leshy relished their suffering, feeding off their fear like a ravenous predator. It was a twisted dance of sadism and agony, a nightmarish tapestry woven through the souls of those unfortunate enough to cross his path. No one could escape his clutches, for the forest embraced them, ensnaring them with tendrils of malevolence. And so, the cycle continued, Leshy reveled in his wicked reign, the forest forever haunted by his presence. As the seasons shifted, he retreated once more into the earth, leaving behind a trail of broken spirits in his wake. But the tendrils of his malevolence remained, whispering through the rustling leaves, a constant reminder of the darkness that awaited those who dared to enter his domain. Eons passed, the forest bearing witness to countless generations of Leshy's torment. Its twisted, gnarled trees stood as deformed sentinels, their branches reaching out like skeletal arms, forever contorted in agony. The very essence of the forest had been tainted by Leshy's malevolence, transforming it into a realm of perpetual darkness. To those foolish enough to enter, the forest was an abominable labyrinth, a cursed domain where time lost all meaning. Each step taken brought them deeper into a nightmare, their pleas drowned out by the malicious whispers that swirled through the dense air. Shadows danced with perverse delight, elongating and contorting into sinister shapes, as if mocking the lost souls who had fallen victim to Leshy's twisted game. Far from being a benevolent protector, Leshy reveled in the suffering of his prey. His approach was subtle, a deceiving smile upon his ethereal visage, but within lurked the darkest depths of depravity. A sinister aura clung to him, permeating through the forest, saturating the very air with a palpable sense of dread. His voice, once a mournful song, had transformed into a cacophony of dissonance. It clawed at the minds of the unfortunate wanderers, twisting thoughts and shattering sanity. It was a symphony of horror, a macabre melody that should not exist in any realm of reality. Laughter turned into a wicked cackle, tears turned into haunting wails, and his words, though devoid of meaning, resounded with an intensity that pierced the very soul. Visions of monstrous creatures plagued the mind of anyone who dared to close their eyes within Leshy's domain. Hideous abominations slithered and writhed in the shadows, their glowing eyes reflecting the terror of their prey. They seemed to materialize from the very darkness itself, snatching away hope and replacing it with an eternal nightmare. But the true horror lay not only in Leshy's presence or the torment he inflicted, but in the aftermath of his reign. The forest, once vibrant and full of life, had withered under his malevolence. Its once lush undergrowth turned into a poisonous thicket, with gnashing thorns and twisted vines eager to ensnare the unwary. Scattered bones, remnants of the unfortunate souls who had fallen victim to Leshy's perverse games, dotted the desolate landscape, forever etched in a macabre tapestry of suffering. Winter held no respite in this cursed realm. Instead, the icy winds howled with a mournful keening, carrying whispers of anguish and despair through the skeletal trees. Leshy's power mingled with the frost, the very essence of his wickedness imbued within the frozen air, waiting to be unleashed once again. For as long as the forest stood, Leshy's reign of terror would persist. The tales of his malevolence would echo through the ages, a dark legend that would forever caution against the perils of the wilderness. It would be a beacon of warning to all who dare to wander where they did not belong, an everlasting reminder that beneath the beauty of nature lies an ancient evil, thirsty for the suffering of those who would dare cross its path. Through the veil of darkness, the story of Leshy, the malevolent master of the forest, continues its twisted descent into the macabre. The very fabric of the cursed woods reeks of desolation, as if the very essence of life and light had been consumed by an insatiable abyss. Leshy's presence hangs heavy in the air, a suffocating weight that chokes the life out of the forest. Its once majestic trees, now mere skeletal remnants, reach out with bony fingers, eager to ensnare and entangle any soul foolish enough to wander close. The earth itself is tainted, its vibrancy choked out beneath a layer of rot and decay. No longer content with the mere confusion of his victims, Leshy revels in their utter torment. His deceptive acts of kindness are now laced with sadistic amusement, each twist and turn leading them further into the heart of the nightmare. The forest becomes a labyrinth of despair, where the lost and the damned wander aimlessly, their anguished cries striking a dissonant chord in the otherwise silent realm. His voice, once hauntingly melancholic, has transformed into an unholy chorus of screams and whispers. It cuts through the thickened air like jagged shards of broken glass, lacerating the minds of those who dare to listen. Desperate pleas for mercy blend with sinister laughter, intertwining to form a horrific melody that seeps into the very depths of their souls, forever staining them with dread. Within the perpetual twilight of Leshy's domain, the boundaries between reality and nightmare blur to nothingness. Illusions of safety crumble like ash, revealing abominable visages that lurk in the shadows. Unseen hands slither alongside the wind, whispering chilling secrets of ancient malevolence that drive even the strongest to the brink of madness. The forest itself is an accomplice to Leshy's wicked game. Its terrain shifts like a malevolent entity, roots rising from the ground to ensnare unsuspecting victims in their gnarled grasp. Unseen eyes peer from behind the thick foliage, watching and reveling in their suffering. Every step becomes a gamble, as the ground gives way to treacherous pits that swallow the souls of the unfortunate. As the moon casts its grotesque glow over the tortured land, Leshy's presence becomes ever more palpable. His malevolence oozes from every tree, every blade of grass, every stone, infecting the very essence of the forest with its sinister touch. The stale stench of decay permeates the air, as Leshy's insatiable hunger for suffering infects every corner of this forlorn realm. And so, the cycle of torment repeats itself, an eternal dance of horror and despair. Leshy, the puppet master of pain, revels in his maleficent glory as the lost souls continue to tumble into his wicked embrace. The forest, scarred and twisted beyond recognition, a testament to the depths of darkness that lies within. None who enter Leshy's domain can ever truly escape its clutches. Their spirits forever haunt the woods, mere echoes of the vibrant lives they once led. The forest, once an enchanting sanctuary of nature's wonders, now an eternally dark and malicious presence, pulses with a dreadful energy and malevolence that whispers through the trees. And with every gust of wind, it carries the echoes of suffering, forever etching the tale of Leshy, the ultimate predator of the forest, into the annals of nightmares. In the heart of the accursed forest, the malevolent reign of Leshy, the master of darkness, persists without respite. The very essence of the land withers under his touch, as life ceases to exist within its twisted embrace. The once vibrant flora has turned to ash, a testament to the insidious power Leshy wields. With each passing day, his torment grows more maleficent. His sadistic pleasure derived from the anguish of the lost souls who stumble into his domain. No longer content with mere confusion and despair, Leshy unleashes unspeakable horrors upon his victims, their minds unraveling beneath the suffocating weight of his darkness. The forest itself becomes an extension of Leshy's wickedness, its malignant spirit engulfing each corner. The twisted branches, like skeletal spires, reach out with malicious intent, ensnaring any who dare venture close. The ground quivers with a malevolent pulse, eager to swallow them wary into its foul depths. The very air drips with a toxic miasma, suffocating all hope that may linger within the hearts of those who are unfortunate enough to enter. Leshy's voice, once hauntingly dissonant, now resonates in a chorus of agony and despair. It acts as a beckoning call, luring in the unsuspecting, who are then subjected to an unending symphony of screams and anguished pleas. The once delicate melodies have transformed into a dissonant cacophony that drills into the soul, splintering reason and shattering sanity. As the moon ascends the shadowed sky, casting a pallid glow over the desolate land, Leshy's presence swells with insidious glee. Every step taken by his victims leads deeper into a labyrinth of eternal torment, where the boundaries between pain and reality blur to nothingness. The forest, now an extension of Leshy's malevolence, morphs and contorts at his will, ensuring that the lost souls are forever trapped in a nightmare without end. And so, the tale of Leshy, the twisted master of the forest, ends in a cacophony of suffering and despair. The forest, forever tainted by his darkness, becomes an eternal prison for the tormented souls who have fallen victim to his sadistic games. There is no escape, no redemption, only an eternity of anguish that consumes all hope and extinguishes the flickering light that dare dwells within. The forest, once a sanctuary of life and beauty, now stands as a monument to the depths of human fears and nightmares, its boundaries forever marked by the haunting presence of Leshy, a chilling reminder that some horrors cannot be defeated, only endured.